currently manage Zeina's Cafe, and next year we're planning to open a second location, a fast casual concept, La Fa Mediterranean. So we're really excited about that. But the real star of the show here is Layla Zeina. Layla Zeina is my mother, and she's also the owner of Zeina's Cafe. She was born and raised in North Lebanon in Akar Valley. You can look it up. It's a cute little village. Akar Valley. And they grew up during a difficult time during this time in the schools were closed, the roads were closed, restaurants, everything was closed most of the time. So she spent a lot of time indoors. She spent a lot of time learning from her mother, her grandmother, the art of Lebanese cuisine. So fast forward 1991, she gets married to my father, Albert Zeina. They moved to this country, started a restaurant. So now we're here, 2020. Next year we'll be opening up another location, so we're excited about that. So let's get started with showing you how to make baklava. So baklava, this is what the tray will look like when we're done. We made this ahead of time. Baklava originates from the Ottoman Empire, 14th century, thousands of years ago. So we're unsure which country it came from exactly, but when you think of baklava, you think of three regions. You think of Greece, you think of Turkey, and you think of Lebanon. So today we're going to teach you, and each country has its own variation, its own little flavor of baklava, but today we're going to teach you how to make Lebanese style baklava. So we're going to start out with our first combination, and that is the walnuts. So what we have here, this has already been put through the food processor. This is what it looks like. Now we use walnuts. You can also use pistachios. You can use hazelnuts. But Lebanese style, the traditional way to do it is with walnuts. So that's what we have. And as you can see here, you don't want to grind it too much. You don't want it to turn too powdery. And you also don't want to leave it too chunky. So right there in the middle is where you want to be. So we're going to add that to the bowl. We're going to go ahead and do that. Meanwhile, we have our rose water. See our rose water here? You can get that at a Lebanese specialty store or on Amazon. Great old Amazon. We also have orange blossom water. We're also going to be combining that to the combination. And we also have just regular water. So we added the walnuts. We're going to add just a little bit of water, just a little to hold it together. Next, we're going to add some rose water for flavor, just a couple splashes, and some orange water for a little more flavor as well. And we need a little bit of sugar. Let me get these out of here. We're going to put just a little bit of sugar for flavor. Good? All right. So that is our walnut combination. So this is what it's going to look like. Just like that. Beautiful. All right, so that's ready to go. So that is combination number one. Combination number two is going to be our simple syrup. And it is in the name, it's very simple to make. So you take a stock pot or a saucepan. It's going to be 2 parts sugar, and it's going to be 1 part water. So we just added a little bit of sugar, I think about 2 cups, a little more than 2 cups. So we're going to add a little bit more than a cup of water. Let's see how we measure around here. So we're going to combine that, and we're also going to add a lemon. Pour that in a little bit. And in this combination, you're going to squeeze it right in, throw it right in there. You see that? We're going to stir it. It's going to give a nice flavor. And then we're also going to add a little bit of, when it's all done, some orange blossom water. We'll leave that on the side. But this is going to go ahead onto our stove, and we're going to put it on high heat until it starts to boil. And then after it starts to boil, lower it to about low to medium low for about 10 minutes. Let it simmer down, and then take it off the heat. It's going to be important that you let it cool, because if you use hot syrup on your hot baklava, it's going to be a disaster. it's gonna get too soggy. You're gonna throw it away. What you need to do is to make sure your syrup cools down before you use it. So we have some here already made. So that'll be ingredient number 2. Number 3 is our butter. So what we're gonna make, this is what it's gonna look like. You can see that. That's the clarified butter. So what we have here is just a stock pot, and we have just 4 sticks of butter. This is 1 pound of butter. What you're gonna do with this to clarify it is you need to put it on the stove on low heat for about a ½ hour. And what's gonna happen is that the milk solids from the butter are gonna settle to the bottom, and there'll be this froth at the top. The milk solids, from the froth at the top, you wanna just discard it. That's the milk solid. You don't want that in your baklava. And you wanna pour out the remainder, and this is what we have here. And then what's left on the bottom of the pot, you wanna throw away as well. That's not gonna be good. And the reason we do that is the milk solids of the butter, they burn at a certain temperature. So you're gonna get butter that is gonna be burnt on your baklava. It's gonna have a very undesirable taste. So you don't wanna do that. So we have our clarified butter. So we now have our walnut combination, we have our syrup, and we have our clarified butter. So what's the 4th ingredient? Phyllo dough, good. So we have our phyllo dough over here. Apollo phyllo dough, that's the brand we recommend. You can make this homemade, very hard to make. We recommend buying it. It's sold at most grocery stores, definitely at a Middle Eastern specialty store, but most grocery stores, go to the frozen aisle, frozen pastry aisle, and you'll find phyllo dough. So the trick normally phyllo dough is what gives people the most anxiety about making baklava. It's hard to work with, this and that, but it's really easy. And we're gonna show you, you just need to handle it the right way. So what you need to do is you store this in the freezer. 13 hours before you're ready to make your baklava, you move it to the refrigerator. In the refrigerator 12 hours, and then an hour before you make baklava, get it to room temperature. So it's a 13-hour thawing process in order to yield the best consistency of dough to work with. Also, we have 2 damp towels. So typically we don't do this, but we're gonna go slow this time and really explain the process of assembling baklava. So we have 2 damp towels here, and we're gonna go ahead and open these up. The damp towels will allow you to work a little bit slower, and it'll just keep the dough nice and moist, and it won't crumble on you. So we're gonna go ahead and start that. So we have our phyllo dough, we have our walnut combination, we have our butter, and we have our syrup. And the syrup we're not gonna use right now, we're gonna use when we're done baking. So I'll move that out of the way. And then next, we are going to assemble our baklava. Do you want this on that side or that side? Go on that side? Okay. Move the phyllo dough there. We'll move the tray here. So this is just a standard half baking tray. It's 17 inches long, 12 inches wide. And we're gonna go ahead and start assembling that. So we're gonna take the phyllo dough out of the plastic. And also we have this little tool here. This is a pastry brush. We're gonna use that to brush on the baklava, or the butter for the baklava. Take that out of the way. And we also have our little utility knife too that we're gonna use at the end to cut the baklava into the beautiful diamonds. So we have our phyllo dough out. Take that. And we're gonna begin the process. Hope you can see this pretty good. Let's see the angle there. Looks good? Beautiful. I'm getting the head nod from Mike. It must mean it's a good angle.
Here you go.
All right, so we're gonna start. So we start with a little bit of the butter at the bottom. Let's go ahead and put a healthy amount. We're going to use our pastry brush. Use our pastry brush to spread it around. And now we're going to take a nice thick piece of phyllo dough. So you don't want to just grab one. You want to grab a good amount of sheets. I count about 4 or 5 here, because we want to create this nice thick base at the bottom. Thick at the bottom, nice filling in the middle, and then nice and flaky at the top. So we're creating this foundation right now with the baklava. So we put it on one side like that. We got 4 or 5 sheets on the other side like that. And we're creating another flap on this side. You see there's a little that hangs off each end, just like that. You see the dough sometimes is difficult to work with. That's okay. We're not machines here. It's going to crack. That's okay. At the end, you won't even notice, believe me. Now we're ready for round 2 of butter. So we're going to put a little bit more butter. Nice healthy amount of butter over there. Spread it around with the pastry brush. Very nice. Beautiful. Now we're putting the rest of 1 pound of phyllo dough, and that's for the base. So we have 2 layers. 1 layer, we created all these flaps. You see that? And the next layer, you see them right here, hanging off the side. We're going to fold those over in a little bit. And the second layer just goes right at the bottom and holds it all together. And butter at the bottom, phyllo dough, butter, phyllo dough. And now we're ready for the walnuts, the stuffing. Let's go. Beautiful. And we put all the walnut. How many pounds was that?
This 5 cups.
5 cups of walnuts. 5 cups of raw walnuts. That's what we're at right now. And we're going to spread it around. We're going to spread it around nice, just like that. Meanwhile, I'm going to start the Turkish coffee, because you can't have baklava without a cup of Turkish coffee. So I'm going to get the pot ready. We have our beautiful Middle Eastern pot here. We're going to make some Turkish coffee. So now that we have our walnuts spread across the bottom, so now we're going to fold it over, just like that.
The walnuts stay in.
And you want to pack the walnuts. You don't want to pack them too hard, because you don't want to rip the dough, but you also want to hold it together pretty nicely. So this is what it's going to look like now. So there's still like a little gap in the middle. We folded everything over. There's walnuts in the middle layer. Now we're ready for a little bit more butter, of course. Gonna spread the butter around just like that. Use our handy dandy brush.
With the second layer.
So now we're ready for our second package of phyllo dough. There we go. And we're going to take it out of the package here. And we're ready for our next layer. So we grab again, like 4 or 5 pieces, and we lay it just right across, no folding over this time, just right across, and we're adding our butter again, another layer of butter. That's how you're going to get the golden brown color, the beautiful flavor. Beautiful. This smells so good. I wish you guys can smell. We're going for another layer, about 4 to 5 pieces again. Yep, so we're gonna keep the phyllo dough nice and moist. We're gonna put the damp towels over, and we're going with another layer of phyllo dough after about 4 or 5 more pieces of phyllo dough. We're adding some more butter. So we're gonna go ahead and spread that all around just like that. And now we're ready for our second to last layer. So there's 2 more layers. Beautiful. So if it breaks on you, it happens. We've done this hundreds and thousands of times.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's okay. You know, you just patch it together. You're not even going to notice, believe me.
After you can go.
Beautiful. Look at that. Here's where we're at right now. I'll show you. This is what it should look like. Can you see that? How's the lighting there? Decent? Good? Beautiful. So that's what it should look like. We're going with a little bit more butter. We don't do much measuring around here, so if you're expecting a full measurement of all the ingredients, you're not going to get that, but I believe Mike Aiello will make this public. There'll be a recording, so I hope you can, you know, watch it again and hopefully, you know, do it yourself. And you can ask us questions. I'll give you my contact information at the end. You can ask us any questions you may have. So we laid down the last layer, and we're putting another layer of butter, the last layer of butter, and that's how it gets all the flavor. Beautiful. Let me check on our coffee back here. So at this time, I'll invite Albert Zeina, my father, to make us the perfect cup of Turkish coffee.
Nice.
So please welcome.
It's done now.
Everyone's clapping. There he is.
Hi, everyone.
So,
Thank you for joining. You find time with us. I hope you continue joining, and I hope you continue love. Thank you, and I'll make the coffee.
Beautiful. So now this is what it looks like. And now we're going to cut it into diamonds. So this is the part that's going to take some practice. This will take a little practice. It's not going to be perfect at first.
I measure with my fingers.
So she's going to go ahead and start to cut the tray. It's important to pre-cut it before you bake it. You're going to have to cut it twice. So you want to cut it once now and then once again as you pull out each piece after the baking process. So you can cut it into diamonds, which we do. You can cut it into squares. You can cut it into triangles, however you want to do it. We're going to do little diamonds. That's the traditional Lebanese shape. Beautiful. Perfect.
There we go.
So let me show the camera. So we cut lines down this way, and now we're going to come diagonally to create the diamond.
There we go.
Beautiful. Also, this is the first session of Poly People. There's a few more, 3 more left. Some great speakers coming up in the next month or so. So be sure to check them out. I know there is some individual, TJ, who is on the History Channel, producing a show on the History Channel, another ESPN reporter. So there's some really good speakers. So thank you for joining us tonight. Hopefully, you know, you can join SUNY Poly and the Alumni Association for the other events too. So we have the Turkish coffee working in the back. We have our baklava almost ready for the oven, and we are almost ready. Hopefully, we're doing good on time. We're at 6:53. I'm gonna have to move this along pretty quickly, but you're gonna go ahead and look at this, and you can see, you know, the diamond shape that we're cutting into. Okay, we need to end this quick, so we move on to the next part. All right.
Okay.
So this is what it should look like, half of it. And we're going to finish cutting the other half in a little bit. So I'm going to take the other tray of baklava that we just finished making out of the oven now, and you're going to see how we add the syrup again, it is really important. Wow, this is nice and hot. Smells delicious. It is important that you use cold syrup. The syrup has to be cold or at room temperature, and it's got to be hot baklava. If you use hot syrup, it's going to get soggy. You're not going to enjoy it. It tastes really good, but it's not going to come out the right way. So we're going to pour on our simple syrup that we made earlier. And again, this just came out of the oven, so it's nice and hot. We're going to pour it on just like that. And we have our third tray, because this needs about 2 hours, to sit, let the phyllo dough soak up the syrup, and then it'll be ready to eat. And this is perfect because you can make this the day before. If you're hosting some people, you don't have to worry about the fresh baked cookies coming out as soon as they get here. It actually tastes better the next day. So
then each one like 70 pieces.
So the yield is about 70 pieces, cut fairly small, but 70 pieces. Yep. And now we have our final product, and this is going to be ready to eat. So I'm going to move the camera, and our Turkish coffee is ready. We're going to go ahead and cut a few pieces to try, and I'm going to move the camera to the table, and we'll answer any questions you may have. So give us one moment to pour our coffee and cut our baklava. I'm going to move the camera. What's going on, everybody? Coming here to my table. Let's see, how's that? Beautiful. All right, let me move the light. And we are ready to rock and roll. Beautiful. How's it look? Beautiful. So we have our coffee here. Look at that. By the expert. So now we're going to garnish with some pistachios. And top it off with a little bit more syrup. Look at that. And that's what the final product looks like. I wish you could try this, but we're going to try it and we'll let you know how it goes. All right. Thank you. Cheers. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Hope you enjoyed.
Thank you, everybody.
Now we're going to jump into the Q&A session, if you don't mind, Eli.
Look at that. Oh my, crunchy at the top. Perfect base. Nice thick base. Nice and moist. Lots of flavor. Delicious. Wish you could try. Let me eat the rest. Go ahead. If anyone has any questions, please.
So we do have a common question actually with the folks right now. During the cooking process, we have a lot of viewers asking, what temperature for the oven are you setting it for, and how long?
Completely missed that. My apologies. 250 degrees. Preheat the oven. 45 minutes. My fault.
Now we do have another question that was asked in the RSVP form. So we have the viewer Karan who asked, could you tell us more about your second restaurant, Lafa? Specifically, what was the inspiration for the fast casual version of Zeina's Cafe, and when will it open? So some of you might not know, we're opening up a second location, Lafa Mediterranean. Our current location, Zeina's Cafe. It is a table service, sit-down restaurant. What we wanted to do was to create a fast casual version of that with more modern flavors, more modern recipes. So we created Lafa. That should be live hopefully next year around this time. Constructions came to a stop, but we're hoping to be open by next year. And we saw a trend
with people in their dining habits. You know, they wanted healthier food. They wanted food that's quicker. And created this concept, and we're hoping you know, to launch by next year. We're really excited about it.
Awesome. We have another question from one of the viewers. Anywhere locally we can find the rose and orange blossom water? Google has only given me places in Syracuse.
No,
Rose?
yes, you have Hannaford here.
I guess Hannaford has it.
Hannaford has it. And Walmart.
Walmart has it. Hannaford. But yeah, if you go to a Middle Eastern specialty store, that's probably what's coming up. Samir Imports.
Another question is what kind of we're gonna say, I'm gonna reword this a little bit, rookie mistake when making baklava, kind of like the one thing that someone could mess up on.
So like I said earlier, you know, everyone who makes it wants to make every ingredient right away, and you want the hot butter, but the syrup cannot be hot. The syrup has to be cold, or else you're going to yield soggy baklava, and it's going to have an undesirable consistency.
And make sure don't cover it baklava.
Also, don't cover it is another key. So right now we're letting it sit. It's you know, open in the air. You don't want to cover it; it'll get soggy. Those are the two big mistakes that we see. What else?
Yeah. And that dessert baklava stay more than usual. You know, you can keep in a freezer. You can take them out. You don't have to put them in a fridge there. Just
You can freeze it in small batches, just how we made the big tray. You could freeze it in small batches, bring it out, you know, before company's coming, you know, a day before, and it'll be just as delicious.
Another question we have is what are some nuts that you could use in replacement of the walnuts?
okay. You can use any type. You allergic to walnuts, you can use the pine nuts. You can use like a pistachio, pecan. Good combination.
Hazelnuts is another one.
Yes.
We've seen some pretty modern baklava with Nutella, and people have had their own rendition of it. So we've seen all sorts of things, but you can use a variety of nuts, whatever you prefer. But the traditional way is with walnuts and pistachios.
And is there going to be a difference from the new location of Lafa with Zeina's Cafe as far as food items?
Yeah, so we're going to have, I'm keeping the menu a little bit of a secret right now, but we are going to have some more modern menu items. We've been working on different recipes, taste testing. Pretty soon we're going to start having our customers at Zeina's Cafe try some of the new menu items. But as of right now, it's we're keeping the menu items on the low until we have some things finalized.
Another question just came up too. Can I use another type of butter?
Another type of butter.
You can use like the Crisco.
Like
That's
Crisco?
not too bad. It tastes better with the real that stuff.
Yeah, the most traditional way, the best taste is going to be just regular unsalted butter. I forgot to mention it. Unsalted butter is what you want to use, but you can use different types of butter. You can use different types of sweetener, you know, if you have some sort of diabetic issue.
Well, awesome. So it's looking like that we have just less than a minute now. So, you know, we're going to have to end it a little short, but we appreciate both you, Elias, and Mrs. Zeina for joining us today and being our first segment for Poly People. And we appreciate the viewers for being here and supporting us throughout this time. Like Eli said earlier, this will be recorded and sent afterwards of the event. Give it another day or two. And I know a common question as well was, do we have a list of ingredients? So we're going to have that as well. So again, thank you both for doing this, and thank you everyone for viewing.
Yeah, thank you very much for coordinating this, and thank you to everyone who dedicated their Tuesday night to this. You know, this is fantastic. Please stay safe. We're almost done with this quarantine thing.
Absolutely. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.